Not Nerd Podcast, Episode 331, Various Nefarious Things.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Hello, sir. Man, talk about your whirlwinds. I've been moving from one thing to another thing, a mover and a shaker, taking calls, hanging up calls, solving problems, creating new ones. Man, I'm all over the map. How are you doing?
Nice.
What are you?
Oh.
I should say, what are you doing?
Oh, the same. Just teching better all day long.
All day
as
long.
We do.
And before we start, I have to do this liquid courage here.
Oh.
Guess what that is, listeners? If you guessed alcohol, you are wrong.
You are wrong.
It is just a soda pop. What are you drinking today? I'm sure Elliot would love to know.
Yes, I have got the Kroger brand lemon seltzer water.
How many calories
Kroger
does it have?
LaCroix. Zilch. Zero.
Very nice.
Now that we're refreshed, we can get on to technology. We've got all kinds of technology, including some follow-up. Now, this has been an ongoing saga for a year now. When did Picture-in-Picture come out in iOS? A year and a half ago, I believe.
Maybe longer than that.
Yes. Well, I saw an article this week. YouTube is killing Picture-in-Picture on iOS, which has been this constant, like, it's working, it's not working, it's working, it's not working. And now, like, apparently it's not going to work. Then I saw another article today that said, YouTube Picture-in-Picture coming. Well, there's a clarification in the article. Google was referring to YouTube TV, not the regular YouTube app. So, and I think you are the one that said, and I believe this must be correct, it has to do with them not being able to show ads.
Yes,
and
that's
there
exactly
is something
it.
weird with showing ads in between videos that is why they don't want to do Picture-in-Picture on iOS.
Because I use a browser to surf the YouTubes.
Yes.
It's the Brave browser, so there are some ad blocking things in it. But typically what will happen is in full screen mode or PiP mode, it'll just either stop and freeze for an eternity, and you have to like engage it, or it'll just kind of hiccup and then go right into the content. But I can tell you this, I've never seen an ad overlaid on top of the video while I'm in Picture-in-Picture, or even full screen mode for that matter. So yes, that's my theory. They can't overlay ads and do all the garbage that they want to do, and so they're just disabling it. But it's not the easiest, but if you don't have YouTube Red or whatever that is it YouTube Red?
YouTube Premium now, I think they call it.
If you don't have that, the YouTube app is not a great experience. You click on the thing, and then a 20-minute ad shows, and then you play your video, and then every 5 seconds an ad plays. So I just use the browser, and it blocks all that stuff, and I couldn't be happier. But it's a little more complicated to use, so it's a trade-off, I guess.
As they all are. Well, speaking of ads and apps that have notoriously not had them, except for promoting their own shows, Netflix, it looks like they are looking at an option for a lower-priced ad-based tier, which got me thinking they just keep raising the price. So now the lower-priced ad-based tier will be the price that you were paying like a year ago.
Yeah, that's the strategy, right? They don't want to have you pay $10 a month and then, hey, now we have ads. People would be outraged. But if you say we're raising prices to $12 for ads and then release an ad-based tier for the same price as it once was, then nobody cares.
Yes. And like Hulu, they've got the ad-based, and then they've got you can pay extra for the non-ads. So it's this eternal battle of trying to force ads on you or getting more of your money, or both, which is usually the case. But I did see, we've talked about Netflix they're talking about cutting down on people password sharing. And according to this article, 1/3 of Netflix users share their passwords.
So I would like to dig into this a little bit. And maybe the article states, but is this with a spouse or someone in their own home? Is that what they're talking about? Or because I guess I technically share my password with my family because we have different accounts set up on our phone. So I would like to know exactly what they mean by that.
They surveyed the Leichtman Research Group, good old LRG, surveyed 4,400 consumers. 64% of respondents said they pay for and use Netflix only in their own household, like you're saying, and then 33% indicate some form of sharing. The remaining 3% are households whose Netflix comes packaged via other subscriptions, so like through your cell plan or whatever. So yeah, it looks like about a third, which makes sense, like sharing with parents or a friend or somebody like that. So
or an out-of-state child.
Yeah, college student, any of that stuff. Again, the streaming disaster of trying to figure out how much they want to crack down on this, how much they're going to charge extra. I think they do have a thing. You can pay more to have more concurrent streams. So like even in your own household, if you had 5 people in your family and everybody wanted to watch something different because you don't like each other, I think you have to pay more for that. Otherwise, like if you're sharing with 2 other family members, 2 other households, then you're trying to watch stuff at the same time, and it's like, and Spotify, they all do this stuff.
Yeah,
so
they
Netflix
kick you off if you have too many streams going.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. The dream of streaming services that we would be paying a lot less money and getting all the great things just are not there.
It all boils down to a human condition known as greed, because they will. It always happens. It's cyclical, right? It's like, oh, you have this service for this amount of money, and it's going to cost more, and now there's going to be ads, and then pretty soon you have to pay more and still get ads. People get frustrated, they quit the service. Someone else will come in with a better, cheaper option. It's just wash, rinse, repeat. If they would just merely be satisfied with the billions of dollars that they're making in profit, then this really wouldn't be an issue.
Yes, indeed. Well, in other news, Apple has announced their WWDC 2022 will be taking place June 6th through 10th. So mark your calendars. Most likely on June 6th, we will have our special keynote recap episode. And this is they always announce the new software versions that will be coming out in the fall, and then sometimes they'll give us a peek at some hardware or something else, but it's typically mostly focused on the software for the developers to be able to build their apps to work on the new software.
Yeah, and that's a Monday, which is interesting. Do they normally start at the beginning? I guess they do for WWDC because it's a multi-day event.
Yes, and it's going to be mostly virtual, but they're going to maybe invite some people to come watch the video at the Apple campus. It's kind of confusing, but yes, indeed. Well, also exciting. It's been a while, but we were just talking about them last week. Good old Wyze. They, in the article says, Wyze is cleaning the air with the Wyze Air Purifier. So this morning when I was putting the show notes together, I used the link that Dave found for the Wyze Air Purifier, and there was some rumors about this. I think something got released, but now as we're trying to visit the website, there is a certificate error and we cannot visit. So maybe much like the Wyze Cam V1, they're having some security issues with their site on that'snotfunny.com, one of our very common tech sources.
Yes. Never even heard of this before I found the article. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, we love and hate Wyze. We love that they're inexpensive and have relatively high quality products. But we hate that they just cannot stay focused to improve said products. They just move right on to the next one. It's like air purifier, vacuum cleaner, toenail cleaner, I don't know, hair growth concoction. It's just they just never stop. And I think some of the outside investment money that they have needs to be repaid, so they just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks so that they can have a high return on investment.
Yes, so hopefully soon we'll have more information and we'll discuss it more there. But you know what we do have information on? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, here's a fun little tip on a project that I was doing on my phone. I got to tell you, it took me way too long to stop what I was doing and figure out a quicker way. So you and I famously have hundreds of applications on our phones.
Yeah.
And if you go into your settings and you go into general and you go to reset, you can reset all of your apps and put everything on your desktop so that you just have pages and pages and pages of alphabetized applications. I've done that before. And then I've gone the other way where I don't put any applications on my screens unless I'm using them actively. And then right now I'm kind of in a hybrid. And so I had like 5 or 6 different pages because I was downloading a bunch of new apps and trying them out. And I'm like, it's time to organize this stuff. And so I got into this process of making the wiggle thing happen and getting the little X to come up, and I tap the X and it says, do you want to delete this app or move it to the app shelf or whatever? And I said, I want to move it to the app shelf. And then I would go to the next one and I would do that. And after about like 20 of them, I'm like, this is the dumbest.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way. Well, thankfully there is. And again, I took way too long to look up how to do it. And I kind of knew before, but one great, fantastic way is not to hold down on your screen or an app to go into jiggle mode. You instead tap and hold the dots at the bottom of your screen that indicate you're on page 1, page 2, page 3.
Yeah.
And when you click and hold that, your screen zooms out and you see all the individual pages, right? And this is similar to the screens that you see when you try to do like, what do they call it? The focus mode, where I want this screen of apps for when I'm working and this screen of, you kind of can do this with focus. But if you just want to quickly clean up everything, you again tap the dots at the bottom of your page. All the pages will show up as little icons, and then you can simply check and uncheck them to hide them. Or the pro tip here is you can also click a little minus button that will appear in unchecked page views, and you can just delete the whole page. And it doesn't delete the apps, it just puts all the apps into the app library. So did you know about that one, Nate?
No, I did not.
So if you, like me,
nice.
have pages and pages of apps and you want to get rid of all of the pages, that's how it is done, my friend.
Very nice. Rearrange pages, do all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
you can
are you currently
them.
Going app library only?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. I know. It saves so much time. I thought, man, I'm going to be sitting here for hours deleting 300 apps individually. I knew there was a better way. I was just too lazy to find it, and I finally did.
Nice work. When you have a problem and you seek out the answer to solve it. That's what we do around here.
Solving tech problems.
We do. Let us move on to the takes of the week. In case you have not heard, Elon Musk has been in the news, as well as Twitter this week in all kinds of ways.
I've never heard of either one of these people.
Yeah. Yes, you wish. So the first thing was Elon said that he had purchased 9.2% of Twitter to become the largest shareholder of Twitter. Twitter says, hey, Elon, we'd like you to be a board member on Twitter with some stipulations that you could not buy too much more stock. And then it came out that Elon is not going to be a board member, so he does not have those stipulations. And he's been posting all these crazy polls on Twitter, like should Twitter have an edit button, and it was like on or say, like spelled wrong, like he spelled the poll wrong. And he's been asking all these questions and doing all this stuff. So there's a strong belief that Elon might just try to take over Twitter. And you're going to be surprised to hear this. There's two different sides on how people feel about that.
And let me guess, it's almost 50-50, these various sides.
Probably. And also, when he announced that he was the largest shareholder, Twitter's stock jumped like 27%. So it did the opposite of what Facebook did a couple months ago, where it jumped way down. It went way up. And so Elon, he's He's very outspoken. He's the world's richest man, so he has the money. He could buy Twitter and not even notice. But I've seen reports of employees quitting Twitter because they're afraid he's going to take away their speech protections. And then there's more people joining Twitter, and everybody, well, not everybody. Some people are wanting former presidents back on there, or people that have been blocked off Twitter. So it's just this whole thing, which Elon's getting a lot of attention, which he likes. It's actually been good for Twitter, even if the people at Twitter aren't exactly excited about the current situation. But yes, so if you haven't been keeping up on Elon Musk and Twitter, that's what's going on with them right now.
So obviously Twitter is a publicly traded company, if Elon was able to buy
so
stocks.
I think he started buying in January, slowly buying this, well, not slowly, to buy 9.2% of the stock.
My train of thought here is he doesn't really need permission from Twitter. He could do a hostile takeover and buy as much as he wants and then be on all the seats of the board. I'm sure there's rules. But yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Well, he could buy it. He could take it private. So it looks like their market cap currently is $37.64 billion. So that after the stock jump, which it's back down a little tick after the big jump up. So that would be a big investment to buy out the entire business at its current price. But he's got a lot of money.
He does indeed.
Keep your eyes on that one, folks. I know you're all riveted to see what happens with Twitter, which even though I spend a lot of time on there, I still do not recommend it for most people.
Yeah, I like Twitter actually, and I don't spend near enough time on it. Yeah, I've said in the past I use it kind of as my news feed, and I forget that it's there sometimes because I get my news from all different sources. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could just look at Twitter and get half this stuff. So
it is great for getting news. There's a lot of fun accounts. We've had previous picks of the week. It all depends what you do on there and your ability to keep calm and carry on, because it's very easy to get caught up in conversations, and there's a lot of hate on there and all of that stuff. But yes, I think Twitter could be a very grand thing. Like with everything, it just all boils down to how you use it.
That is truth.
Yes, and I believe we're both still using Apple Maps exclusively on our devices for navigation.
Yeah, except for when I'm in some app, usually a Google app, and I click a link and it opens up in Google.
Takes you to the Google.
But Apple Maps is, I've been using it and enjoying it so far.
Yeah, well, TechCrunch is reporting Google Maps is to add toll road prices, more map details, Apple Watch improvements, and more. So again, we've talked about this so many times. We love the competition. We love that Apple Maps is a contender so that Google Maps has to add things. Now, in the Portland area, we currently don't have any toll roads. There are plans to implement that sooner than later around here, so we aren't impacted by that right now. That would be nice. If you are really sold on Google Maps, it will do the direct navigation on your Apple Watch, which has just been Apple Maps previously. They're adding new features, more details, all that stuff. So hopefully they'll push Apple to keep getting better as well.
Maybe so, because right now those two features you mentioned aren't real big features that I really care about.
Motivators for you.
Yeah, they don't motivate me. And Apple Maps is not perfect, but I keep telling myself and others that if I continue to use it because it's convenient for me, it will get better, which is better for me. So
yes, indeed. Well, we've got a couple security and privacy stories. This one, I just like the name of it. New Borat remote access malware is no laughing matter.
Wow, man. Those guys and their headlines.
Bleeping computer in their headlines. Yeah, it seems like they could have used something better from the Borat films. But
yes,
this new remote access Trojan, which is called a RAT in the industry, RAT, named Borat, has appeared on darknet markets, offering easy-to-use features to conduct DDoS attacks, UAC bypass, and ransomware deployment.
When I was at the doctor the other week, I had UAC bypass or whatever that thing was.
Yes. You got to get those checked out at our age.
Yeah.
But yeah, so rats, the whole idea, they've been around for a long time. They infect your computer and they give control to somebody, remote access, Trojan. So it's kind of right there in the name.
Yeah.
But this one has started popping up. It looks like, it's built pretty easy to use. There's a bunch of different things you can do through it if you can get it installed on a computer and then be able to do various nefarious things. Various Nefarious,
That's
my band name.
Yeah, that's a great band name.
Yes, but yeah, so watch out for the Borat coming to a computer near you.
Well, and for those who are listening right now, there's really not much that I think we could expect you could do. Like,
yeah.
What can you do about it? Probably nothing, but at least you're aware of it. And if something comes down the pike that could be a help, at least you won't be like, I've never even heard of this thing. So
Yes. Well, and at least people are aware of it now, so they can build it into, various protection softwares or try to block it as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And speaking of block, the company formerly known as Square, which went into the third dimension as Block, confirms Cash App breach by former employee.
Yeah, I still can't get over their transition to Block.
Name change.
So is Square still their brand name for the terminals, or are those going to be changed to Block terminals?
I think it's all switching over, but people are just going to keep calling it Square, and I think that's a better name. But anyways, so a former employee downloaded some spreadsheets of customer information. They said that the information in the reports included users' full names and brokerage account numbers, and for some customers, the access data also included brokerage portfolio value, brokerage portfolio holdings, and stock trading activity for one trading day. So not a lot of personal identifiable information, but also there's a lot of people asking how a former employee had access to download the information that they were able to get.
Well, I can tell you give all your employees access and passwords to things, and when they are downsized, you don't change them, and you can still log in. It's a big problem in a lot of companies, and most people are good people and don't exploit these things. But
yes, and the article does end with, TechCrunch sent Block additional questions regarding the scope of the incident, but the company declined to answer.
Kind of like my credit card.
Yes, declined to answer. Well, after those two, let's move on to our bonus odd take of the week. We have another random website to kill some time on, and this is found at stars.chromeexperiments.com, but it is titled 100,000 Stars. So if you look in the little question mark in the lower right corner, 100,000 Stars is an interactive visualization of the stellar neighborhood created for the Google Chrome web browser. It shows the location of 119,617 nearby stars derived from multiple sources, including the 1989 Hipparcos mission. Zooming in reveals 87 individually identified stars and our solar system. The galaxy's view is an artist's rendition based on the NGC 1232, a spiral galaxy like the Milky Way. So you can pan through these 100,000 stars. Now, they do have a warning on here that I want to let our listeners know about. Warning: scientific accuracy is not guaranteed. Please do not use this visualization for interstellar navigation.
That's important.
Yes, but a very fascinating. You can zoom all the way into our dear sun that brings us warmth and so many great things, and then you start zooming out and you see all of these stars that they have mapped, and it is pretty impressive. Just a fun little website.
If you want to feel very small,
yes,
then you should take a look at this website, because as you said, the sun is enormous, and then tiny little specks of dirt are flying around it, which are our planets. Then you zoom way out, and there's the Oort cloud, which is 1 light year away.
Yeah.
And then our local cluster, and then onto the galaxy. And wow, it's very humbling to know just how small we are.
Yes.
And think about the tiny tardigrades, which are very much smaller than us.
This is true.
How do they feel?
Yes. Well, you know what's larger than us? Our picks of the week.
So my pick is a little bit different this week, Nate. I was trying to copy the text and it was not cooperating. I wonder if that star program is making my computer
crashing your computer.
Crash. Thanks for that. Many of us are on different journeys of health, and we try to not put terrible things in our bodies. And so one attempt to eat less sugar for me has been to use alternatives. And I know there's controversy between artificial sweeteners and cancers and et cetera, but I've enjoyed using stevia for a long time. And you go into the grocery store and you look at stevia and you look at the back of the box and it's like, oh, we got some stevia in here and also some maltodextrin and and some other fillers and some things that are sugar but have different names in them. And it's like, I just want the stevia. That's all I want. That's all I'm here for. So in my journeys, the best one that I found so far is Trader Joe's organic stevia extract. And again, there may be better, there may be worse. I don't, this is what I have found.
Yes.
You may say, well, there's not a Trader Joe's around here anywhere. I mean, you're lucky you live out in Portland and there's one every 45 miles.
Yeah.
But I live somewhere else. Well, guess what? You can find this on Amazon, my friends.
Ooh.
You can get 1 ounce for $12.47. You're like, this is more expensive than cocaine. Why would I want 1 ounce of this stuff? Well, I'll tell you, that 1 ounce will give you 630 servings.
Whoa.
Because it is just stevia. And it's very powerful. And inside the little jar comes a tiny little spoon that you can put in your drink. So it's the equivalent of 1 packet of sugars of sweetness. And again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know whether this is good for you, bad for you, whether it'll make your glucose go up or down. I do not know any of those things. But I do know that I would rather put a tiny fraction of an ounce of this in my coffee than a packet of sugar.
Yes. A regular PDX fast foodie over there.
I know.
Jeez, look at you with the food pick. That's usually my realm. Well, yes, stevia, I do not partake in the stevia, but I know that it is very helpful to people, and I try to avoid the sugars. So if that's a good way to do it,
Yes.
and that sounds like a very good option. Because, yes, I've actually seen stevia that had sugar in it.
Right. All the ones in the store do.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Well, my pick of the week this week is possibly, I've had several nerdy iPhone cases over our 300 plus episodes. Well, this one is maybe one of the, I don't know if nerdiest. It is just not for everybody. But this is the SmallRig video rig cage for iPhone 13 Pro with dual cold shoes, aluminum mobile phone stabilizer, smartphone video rig cage for filmmaking, videography, live streaming, vlog, 3562.
What is the vlog dash 3562? What is that?
I wonder if the 3562 is a model number. As you can imagine, I copied this directly from Amazon, but we've talked about SmallRig many times. You've bought me some SmallRig stuff. I've purchased some SmallRig stuff. I have great aspirations of creating more video content in my life, and I heard about this on Break Weekly, and what it is, it's much like many iPhone cases you have, except for it is aluminum, and there's a little hinge and a little latch on the other side. You slide your phone in, and then it gives you tripod mounts, cold shoe mounts, all kinds of connections for any type of video photography stuff that you would want to do. They show it with a little handle on the side, which I have other handles, but put a microphone on top, some video light, you could connect all kinds of this stuff. So it's not really a daily driver iPhone case, but if you are somebody that creates video, and I've had the larger ones, like big old things, but this fits pretty tight on your phone and then gives you all this extendability for accessories on your phone.
And you might be bearing the lead here. For those of you who are cinemaphiles, it might have a set of moment lenses laying around your house. It comes with moment lens adapters built in. Not adapters, I guess connector ports.
Connectors, yes.
Where you just screw it right in and you can use your very expensive moment lenses. And your purchase, when I learned about this last week, sent me down a rabbit trail of trying to find previously purchased, used, on sale moment lenses. And I was not successful in finding any, but man, I'd sure like to have a set of moment lenses to pair with this thing just to see how they perform. But I got to be honest, the iPhone 13 cameras and lenses are pretty darn good.
Yeah. We were discussing that when we were discussing this. But yeah, it's very nice. It's very well built. It's sturdy. And most of all, I've talked about other products like this before. If you are doing videography and you want to use your iPhone for that, this would definitely give you some street cred for using your phone. Now, if you just pull your phone out of your pocket with your normal case and try to take some sort of professional video, people are going to be like, who is this guy? But when you've got this on there, it's like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He spent money on a case to hook a bunch of things onto his phone, even though he already had other things that would do the same job.
Right. And knowing me, I would probably hook things on the case, on the frame, that weren't even hooked to the phone. They just look cool.
Just for show, just for street cred. When it comes to videography, perception is a big thing. Dave, Wes, and I have all had discussions of, these YouTubers that we watch that do these amazing looking videos, and they have all this gear. It reminds me of the Portlandia sketch where they were going for a hike and they would gear up and they just, they're going for this little piddly hike and they just keep putting on gear. And it's a lot the same in the photo and the video world where, if you don't have a million accessories, are you even taking video?
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, your iPhone in your hand is, especially if it's a newer iPhone, is just an amazing video taking device. But it is nice. Sometimes you need some added light. Light is always an important thing. And audio, if you have an external microphone, or the moment lenses if you're really trying to get some different effects. But man, video is cool.
Video is cool, and I cannot stop buying products, and I'm envious of your SmallRig. And I of course have because I try to be better than you, I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Yes.
And it comes like in gunmetal gray. So not that silver color that you have.
Yes.
And so, man, I'm drooling over here. I'm like, do I really want to buy this thing? And the answer is yes. Do I need to buy it? Absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely not.
But they run about $45, $46 depending on which model you need.
Yeah.
And they do have a 5% coupon on Amazon at the moment, so your results may vary on that. But yes, if you're looking for something like this is a good solution for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, with that, we have talked at you long enough. We will wrap up this episode. Share it with a friend, enjoy it, and then get out there and tech better. See, I told them to share it with a friend first and then listen to it. But, I guess it's at the end of the episode, so that doesn't work. Dang it. I was trying to fool our listeners into sharing it before they hear the content. Are you frozen?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
Your video is.
Oh, let's do this.
Maybe they're solar flares or something.